the real cool guy. Hey, Jason Huggins, the real cool guy here, and I wanted to do a really quick video just to show you my Adobe Audition workspace and show you how I've got it set up for optimum efficiency in my eyes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start out, here is how I've got Adobe Audition laid out. In the blog post that I listed, I had all of these different items in a bulleted list to tell you which one of the items are or what the items are. And so I'm going to go through and just show you exactly what each one of those is. So first off, you got the editor. That is this whole window, and that includes the spectral view. If you turn it off, it doesn't include the spectral view. If you turn it on, it does. You can see that I have up here, my time is set in hours, minutes, seconds. So this is 0.5 seconds. This is 8 seconds. And you can see that that's the way it's set up. Now over on the left here, I've got right here, this is the level meter. If I was to spread this out, it would say levels, you can see there. I've got it set pretty small there. And then I've got it set down to negative 96 dB, I think is the setting. That's just the way I like it. You can have it over here. It's kind of out of the way. Some people like it down across the bottom. I prefer to have it over here because I have a second screen to the left of it where I see scripts, and I like to be able to see the script and see the level meter at the same time so that I can set my levels without having to, if I turn my head and look at the other screen, it changes my levels a little bit. So that's the reason I have the level meter set over here. Sometimes I even grab this and stick it on the other screen over there on the left and put it right next to the script. But to have everything on one screen, I put it right there. Next, right here, you have history, which is all set up right here. And then every time you do something, if I delete that, it will do that. And if I undo it, it will obviously do that. But if I want to go back, I can go back and forth here. If I want to go all the way back up here, I can go back up there. So that's how I use that history, and it tells you how many undos you have as well. Next is the amplitude statistics. This is used by either selecting a chunk like that and hitting scan, and it gives you all this information. Or if you have nothing selected, you can just hit scan, and it'll scan the whole file, and that gives you all that information as well. Below that, I have batch process and match volume. I have them both in here. To use them, if you had multiple files, you would select all of the files, and then you would grab, drop, and drag, and just drop it in there like that. And then you would go to whatever process you want to use, and you would hit run. And if you have export checked, then export will be used. You can change your export settings here. This will change, wherever whatever you want to do. If you want to put change the file name, change the location, change the format, and then obviously all of that stuff's involved there. So when you hit OK, that will save the settings, and then when you hit run, it will actually export. Next, you have match volume, which is quite similar. You just drop and drag like that. If you click on match volume settings, then you can change either RMS, total RMS, peak amplitude. You can change these settings to your liking, and then you can also export with this one and run it as well if you'd like to. Below that, I've got my files, which obviously this is a list of files. If I had 50 files here, they would all be listed. And if you scroll to the right, it will tell you the total duration, the sample rate, channels, all that kind of stuff. It'll tell you all the information about that file. And then, so obviously if they're listed, then they're listed. You can double click on the file to select whatever file you want. Because there's only one file there, then there's only one there. So markers, same thing will happen here. If you add a marker, we'll add a bunch of markers just for fun. That's all listed here. If you double click on a marker, it will take you in the audio, as you can see, to that exact marker in the audio. And that's how you get through the markers there. Now underneath that, I've got time, and that is exactly where the playhead is located on the timeline. Next to that is the transport. Honestly, I personally only ever use this to turn loop back on and off. If I want to loop something, I'll click on that. That's the only button I click. Everything else is I have on the keypad or on my Razer Nostromo controller. Next to that, I then have my selection view. This is pretty important because it tells you where the stop, start, and duration of whatever selection or view you're looking at. Selection is when you highlight a chunk, that's the start, that's the stop, and then the duration obviously is 3.304 seconds. So that's like this. Now, one of the things that I mentioned is that if you wanted to highlight silence, we'll record some silence here. All right, so let's say I wanted 1 second of silence. I can just grab like that. That shows that I've got 3 seconds. If I click on that, I hit 1 and enter. That will move that to exactly 1 second of silence there. And if I want, I can copy that and I can paste it to wherever I want. If I want 1 second between phrases, I can bring it here and I can paste 1 second. It just depends on how you want to do that. And then if I want to go back to way before the beginning of all this, I can just go, I think this is where I was. Yep, there we go. Back to the beginning of everything. Got rid of all that stuff. Or I can just jump like that. So it's really easy to jump back and forth with history. Anyway, so view is a little different. If I zoom in, I'm only looking at a small chunk of the audio, and it tells me the start, stop, and duration of this entire view right here, which you can see up here as well, is from there to there. It's not the selection, it's what I'm actually viewing. So it's what I'm seeing. So the view and selection are different, and they're good. So that's it. That is the workspace that I have set up. That's how I use the waveform view of Adobe Audition CS6. And Adobe Audition Creative Cloud works practically identically to that. There are little tweaks here and there that are a bit different. One of them actually is that the way that the windows are laid out is slightly different the way that you're allowed to lay out windows, but it's not different enough to make that big of a difference. So yeah, tell me how you have yours laid out, because I'd really love to know if there's any way that I could improve my workflow. All right, talk to you soon. The Real Cool Guy.